Hello, and welcome to the Kathleen Spracklin podcast. I am a woman on a mission to gather a cadre of writers, thinkers, and teachers who are transforming the world one character at a time. And it all starts with one thing: a deep understanding of human motivation, why people do what they do, and the forces that drive them. But I'm still working with Zettelkasten. And I've started a new series called the Zettelkasten Repair Clinic. I have 4 questions already in the works, and tonight I'm going to deal with one question. Help, my card numbers are too long. Okay, now the gentleman in question, Father Basilio, is worrying that maybe he should start over. And he has about 300 cards in his Zettelkasten, and he's afraid that maybe what he really ought to do is just start over. My answer to that is no, don't. Keep those cards, even keep the numbers. Don't redo anything that's in your Zettelkasten. That is already embedded in your mind. It's embedded in your subconscious. You've got a feel for where those cards are. They remain. Now, 300 cards is a fair number, but it's not an insanely large number. As the Zettelkasten grows and it's under repair and it's not having that problem anymore, as time goes by, you'll stumble on one of those old cards with the long numbers, and it'll be like, I remember when my Zettelkasten was hard, and now look how smooth it's going. And it'll just give you a little bit of joy. And when they're history, they are not unpleasant, they are pleasant. So keep them, and let's not perpetuate the problem, and let's resolve the problem, but keep what you've got. Resist the temptation to tear it apart and start over. All right, so before we go into how do you repair your Zettelkasten when the numbers have gotten too long, we have to first think about why are the numbers getting too long? Because if we can't nail down what's going on to cause those ultra long numbers, then any remedial measures that we put into place to get us back on track are going to immediately start generating numbers that are way too long again. So let's first do the diagnostics, and then once you know what caused those numbers, leave the numbers that you've got there, and then we'll talk about how you fix it going forward. Not how you repair the ones that are there. They exist. How you fix it going forward. Okay, so I'm going to go to the down-facing camera. Father Basilio was kind enough to send me some card images, and we're going to take a look at those. And also, because these are, for the most part, in Italian, he has also given me the translation of some so that we can talk about where the problem comes from when we start looking at that. Okay, so down-facing camera, here we go. Okay, the first thing we're going to do here is take a look at the sample cards and see what we're looking at in terms of how long is too long. And then we're going to dive in and see if we can diagnose the problem. Where do the too long numbers come from? So here's the first example. And over here on the right is a card number. And you can see that it is kind of getting pretty long. If we were going to break it up with dashes, we'd put them in here, and it would be a little bit easier to read. But this is definitely getting a bit on the long side. If we take another example here, now the card number is over on this side, but again, you can see if we break it up 1A, 1A, if we split it there, 1A, 1B, 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 it's still getting pretty long. And another one, here the card number is highlighted for us, and it is really getting long. Another one, now this time, this is the card where he has now beginning to follow some of the guidelines from my videos. He now has a tagline, and he's now broken up the information from his source, his own reaction, the tagline, and up here for the card number, it's still very long, but he's broken it with the dashes so that it's far more readable. But it still seems to be excessively long. It makes me wonder, why are the numbers getting this long? Here's an example. This is the fourth card for the letter S. And look at all of these card numbers that are rather extensive. I focused in on this particular one. The one I wanted to look at, this one is 1A, 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 1B, 1A. That is, especially that 1A, 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 1A. What is going on there that's causing it to go down a line? Just no branching at all, just down a line. So taking a look at this one, Father Basilio sent me this list, which is the title of each card as it went down on this whole line that came down to this final card with the long, long number, proof, where he says the real title is Proof Chews Up the Presumption. So I wanted to focus on some of the early areas. Why did it go linear? Why didn't it bush out? And I picked one to look at, and it turned out that the card was very, very naturally and appropriately the child of this card. But then when we started looking at some of the earlier ones, we were able to see where actually we had a conversation going with some of these cards. God is revealed only in history. God reveals himself with a verb. That these guys actually form a conversation. So they aren't really a descendant from one another. We might have done much better to say that this one, okay, is 7.1a, but if this one is 7.1a1, this one probably should have been 7.1a2. And so the problem with this line and why it got so very long was the not really choosing the parent card properly. And if you always choose the parent card as the development of the argument as it goes along, it's just going to get stringier and stringier and stringier. So I suggested to Father Basilio that when a Zettelkasten is brand new and you've never done a Zettelkasten before, or when you've got an existing Zettelkasten but you're going into a topic that you've never done before, that it's a very good idea to begin with a foundational book, because then the foundational book can provide structure for your Zettelkasten. You can see that the book is organized by chapter. The book is organized maybe by section. The chapters might be subdivided into subsections, and you can use those guidelines to help you create structure so that you're not just running off with deeper and deeper and deeper card numbers. Now, two questions arise when we're talking about a foundational book. One is, do you really need one? Two is, how do you select one if you decide you want one? Do you really need one? No. If you truly understand parent, how the child should select the parent card, and then that's what forms the natural structure. All of the branching and all of the categories should happen totally naturally as a result of the new card choosing its parent. The value in the foundational book is that when you're not experienced with a card choosing its parent, you might not be sensitive to what makes a good choice. So that's the foundational book can help you get used to the idea of what constitutes a parent. It's not required at all. There is another factor that goes on there that I see, that is really, really possibly the single greatest problem with the cards that I saw, is the lack of your own personal reaction to the information. You've got this information and the information is new, but every single card that you add to your system needs to have something of yourself, because you're part of that conversation. If you're not a part of the conversation, then you're just passively learning. But when you become a part of that conversation, you are better able to share it with others. You're better able to advance the field, and you're better able to assimilate the information because you've taken the time to bring yourself into what you've studied. Now, the fascinating thing about that is the minute you add your thoughts to an existing card, you've already got a conversation. Every card should have the beginnings of a conversation, because it should have the source and your feelings. Now, once you do that, you're going to do a much better job of choosing the parent, because you're going to be aware of the conversation that's going on. You've already had a conversation. And that's what's going to make a really, really quality choice of a parent card. The use of a foundational book is sort of like training wheels on a bicycle. It's like practice of any sort, where you're not using the real equipment, you're using something that helps train you so that you get used to working with the idea of these cards. Now, that said, if you want to use a foundational book, how do you choose a good one? I've got 3 sources that will help you with that. For my purposes, this book is the single greatest one. Zettelkasten, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, The Intellectual Life. I like everything about this book. I made more bib cards off of this book than any other single book in my entire library. And he's the one who really talks about foundational books and how to choose a foundational book. Another very practical guide for what sources to choose is Umberto Eco's How to Write a Thesis. He goes very, very deeply into how to choose good source material. And the most foundational piece of all will be amongst the things that he suggests you collect. And the third one, Mortimer Adler, How to Read a Book. This is more general in terms of how to choose a quality book. And he's got quite a list of foundational books, as an appendix in this. So those are some choices for how to do it. And again, having a foundational book just is like training wheels. It helps you understand where a Zettelkasten carries the structure. You still must always, whatever card you take, add something of yourself to that card, because that's where the conversation gets going. And that's what engages the part of your brain that is less verbal and less able to carry on a conversation with you, because that part of your brain is very, very vital in creativity and understanding, making connections. You don't want to miss out on that power. So this is long enough now that I'm going to stop it here. So the first step in dealing with card numbers that are too long is diagnosing why they get to be too long. There are 2 other common reasons why card numbers get to be too long. One is that you can have a run-on card. You start taking a quote from the book and you just love it, and you write it, and you get to the end of the card and you're not done. So you take out another card and you write, and another card and you write, and another card and you write, You got 4 cards. Well, some gurus, including my guru, my treasured friend, Scott Shepper, says you give each card number a different number, and you're going to get 1A, 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 1A. I mean, that's what's going to happen if you do that. I don't approve of that. I think if you've extend it across 4 cards to capture the quote or capture what you wanted out of it, that's 1 card, and it's one of 4, 2 of 4, 3 of 4, 4 of 4. And I even have shown you in the past that I cut the corner off the subsequent cards so that I can very easily grab all the cards that belong in the set. I kind of am a little bit the queen of run-on cards. Part of that I've talked about already. If it's just me going on, I will now grab a journal instead of going on and on cards. Okay, the third way that cards can tend to be run on is if you're tracing an author who's building a point. And the point, and then this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, and again you run on. That's another case where you might want to impose structure. If the author is building a case through 4 points, then take note of that and create a header card. It's not a directory card. It's a card that basically says, the author brings to bear several points in his discussion, and then react to that. And then you've got A, B, C, D for the 4 points, and you won't be running off down the line. So once you've diagnosed what the problem is, then of course the next question is, you've already got these long card numbers in your system. How are you going to deal with it? And also at this point in time, I'm also going to answer some of the additional questions that Father Basilio added after I gave him the suggestion about the foundational books. So this is going to have to continue to tomorrow night. So we'll see you some more then. Okay, bye-bye.